yesterday was the birth of Syeda Zainab alayhi salam. And it is a very profound time for us, because when we think about Syeda Zainab, she is the one who protected, along with Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, the institution, the message of Karbala. And she lived only for 2 years after the martyrdom of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. In 2 years. And there are narrations that every time she used to see her nephew, Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, she used to cry, because she remembered her brother, the entire clan, the entire family that was destroyed. And her struggle was unique. It was unlike anyone. Because in 2 years, because she had the responsibility of establishing this institution, but establishing the institution in 2 years, at an old age, after losing the entire family, and an institution that has to survive for eternity. Otherwise, people would have forgotten what happened in Karbala. And if people would have forgotten what happened in Karbala, there is no reason for people to remember all the other Imams. Because this is the reason why people are connected to the institution, to the true Islam. The organization, the institution of the Azadari of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. If that wasn't there, there was no reason for people to be connected to religion. And Shaitan would have been so much more happier. And that's why there are narrations when Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, on the day of when he was leaving the plain of Karbala, and when he was totally distraught, he says that I was about to just go fall. My aunt looked at me and she said, "Oh my nephew, what am I looking at?" He said, "Why am I still alive? How can a son be alive when the body of the father is in that situation?" And then Syeda Zainab said that I have heard from my grandfather, and I've confirmed it with my father, that one day the grandfather, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he came to our house and we had food, and he was very happy. After having food, he went into the sajda, and from the sajda he came out and he was crying. Sayyidah Fatima Zahra, my mother, asked, "What happened, O father?" He replied that Jibreel just came and told me that there will be a time when this son, Hussein, will be martyred. Sayyidah Fatima asked, "What will happen at that time? Will I be there? Will Ali will be there? Will Hassan will be there? Who will be there?" The Prophet replied, "No one will be there." Then Sayyidah asked, "So who will cry on my son?" He replied, "There will be a nation that Allah will raise, whose children will cry on the children of Hussein, whose men will cry on the men of Hussein, whose female will cry on the women of Hussein. And that nation will be raised, and the names of that nation and their ancestors have been recorded with Allah from the start. And there will be a place where all of the people, all of your Shia and the Shia of Ali will come and visit the grave or the shrine of Imam Hussein. And their names are written with the angels. And the Prophet said, whenever they come, they will be rewarded like nothing else. And they will sacrifice everything to come to visit Al-Hussein alayhi salam." And Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Then Syeda Zainab, when she told that, she said, "I confirmed with my father after he was struck on the day of the 19th of Ramadan. Is this true?" He said, "Yes, that is what will happen." And he said that there was a time on the day of Ghadir when Shaitan, he was very upset. He said, "Now what's going to happen?" All the followers of Shaitan said, "The Prophet has appointed a caliph, a successor. Now Muslims will always be guided." Shaitan was very upset. The second time when the Prophet passed away, Shaitan was the first person to raise and accept the bay'ah of Abu Bakr and said, "I was waiting for you to come on this position." And he was very happy. And on the day when Hussein is martyred, Shaitan will be very happy. And he will say, now I have made sure that the 90% majority of this community, these Muslims, are lost. Just focus on this small portion who are attached with the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And then there will be a time, then Syeda said, there will be a time when their shrine will be built and people will come. At that point, Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam became happy. But when Syeda Zainab came back, she saw the shrines which were totally destroyed. There were no shrines at that time. There was just void, sand. And she was hoping, according to the poets, that Syeda Zainab was thinking that there will be a shrine at some point. I do not have any wealth. How would I establish this shrine? But it's Allah's promise. And if you want to know how it would have felt for Syeda Zainab to see that grave at that time, how bad it would have felt, just think about Jannatul Baqi today. 4 of the Imams, their graves are without shelter. They have full sunlight, 55 degrees of temperature. No one is allowed to stand, no one is allowed to pray, no one is allowed to even stop over there and say salam and do ziyarah. Nothing. When it rains on their graves. When it is dark, there is no light. There is no one allowed to reach there except for 2 times in the day, and even then they are not allowed to stand over there. That is the state of the graves of the 4 Masumeen, the Hujjah of Allah in today's world. May Allah hasten the recovery of Imam alayhi salam.